My name is Alan, and I come from Italy. A few months ago, I moved to London, hoping to start a new life and improve my English. London is a beautiful and exciting city. There are people from all over the world, and every day feels different. There is so much to see, so many places to explore, and so many new things to try. But soon after arriving, I realized something very important. Life in London is expensive. Everything costs more than I expected. The rent for my small apartment is high. Food prices are not cheap, and even the cost of taking the bus or the train adds up quickly. At first, I used the money I had saved in Italy, but it started to run out fast. I realized that if I wanted to stay here and continue building my life, I would need to find a job as soon as possible. Without work, I wouldn't be able to pay my bills or buy the things I need. So every day, I walked around the streets near my apartment, looking at shops and cafes, hoping to see a help wanted sign. I didn't have much job experience, but I was willing to work hard. I looked inside windows, checked message boards, and asked around. Then one day, while walking down a quiet street, I passed a small cafe. In the window, there was a sign that caught my eye. It said the cafe was looking for a part-time worker. They needed someone to serve coffee, clean tables, and help customers. I stopped and read the sign carefully. My heart started to beat a little faster. This job sounded perfect. I like coffee. I enjoy talking to people, and I really needed the money. I stood there for a moment and imagined myself working in that cafe. I thought about making coffee, smiling at customers, and being part of a team. I felt excited. But then something inside me changed. Worry started to fill my mind. I suddenly remembered that the interview would be in English. I had been learning English for some time, but I still didn't feel confident when I spoke. I often got nervous. My hands would sweat, and I sometimes forgot words, even simple ones. I imagined myself sitting in front of the manager, not understanding the questions. I imagined freezing and not knowing how to respond. These thoughts made me feel scared. For a few minutes, I even thought about giving up and walking away. But then I remembered something my friend Daniel once told me. Daniel is my best friend here in London. He also came from Europe, but he had been living in London longer than I had. He spoke English very well, and he was always kind and helpful. I remembered his words clearly. He once told me, "You won't get better if you don't try. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn." His voice came into my head at just the right time. I took a deep breath and said to myself, I can do this. I will ask Daniel to help me get ready for the interview. That evening, after I got home, I called Daniel and asked him if he could come over. He said yes right away. When he arrived at my apartment, I told him everything about the job at the cafe and how nervous I felt. I said, "Daniel, I really want this job, but I'm scared. The interview will be in English, and I don't know if I'm ready." Daniel gave me a warm smile and said, "Don't worry, Alan. We'll practice together. You're not alone. I believe in you." We sat down at the small table in my kitchen. Daniel picked up a notebook and began pretending to be the cafe manager. He said, "Let's start practicing. I'll ask you the questions and you answer in English. Just do your best." He began the practice interview with a serious voice. "Why do you want to work here?" he asked. I took a moment to think and said, "I want to work here because I like coffee and I want to learn. I also want to improve my English and get job experience. I am a hard worker." Daniel nodded and said, "That's a good answer. Now just try to speak slowly and clearly." We kept practicing for more than an hour. Daniel asked me many different questions. He asked about my work experience, my strengths, my availability, and how I would help a customer. At first, I made small mistakes, and sometimes I had to stop and think. But Daniel was patient. He corrected me gently and helped me find the right words. As we kept going, I started to feel more relaxed and more confident. Daniel also taught me what to say if I didn't understand a question during the real interview. He said I could say, "Could you please repeat that?" Or, "I'm sorry, could you explain that again?" He told me it was okay to ask for help. That night, after we finished practicing, I thanked Daniel and told him I felt better. But deep inside, I was still a little scared. The interview was the next day, and I didn't know what would happen. That night, I couldn't sleep very well. I lay in bed, thinking about everything that could go wrong. What if I forgot my words? What if I couldn't understand the manager? What if I made too many mistakes? These thoughts stayed in my mind until late at night. I tried to remind myself of what Daniel said. I told myself, just try your best. That's all you can do. The next morning, I woke up early. I wanted to have plenty of time to get ready. I took a long shower to help myself feel calm. I chose my best clothes, something clean and simple. I looked in the mirror and practiced smiling. I told myself, "You can do this, Alan. You are ready. You have practiced and you have worked hard." With my heart beating fast, I walked to the cafe. When I arrived, I saw the manager behind the counter. He was tall, with short dark hair and a serious face. I took a deep breath and walked up to him. "Hello," I said. "My name is Alan. I'm here for the interview." He smiled and said, "Nice to meet you, Alan. Please have a seat." I sat at a small table near the window, and the interview began. The manager asked me, "Tell me about yourself. Where are you from?" I felt a little nervous, but I remembered to breathe. "I am from Italy," I said. "I moved to London to study and to improve my English. I enjoy working hard and learning new things. The manager nodded and smiled. Then he asked, "Why do you want to work at this cafe?" I answered, "I like the friendly feeling here. I think it's a nice place to work. I also want to improve my English and learn about customer service." The manager seemed happy with my answer. He said, "Do you have any experience working in a cafe or restaurant?" This was the question I had been worried about. I took a moment to think and then said, "I have not worked in a cafe before, but I worked in a small shop in Italy. I helped customers, cleaned the store, and used the cash register." The manager smiled and said, "That's useful experience. Talking to customers is very important in this job." I started to feel more confident, but then the manager asked a more difficult question. How would you handle a difficult customer? For a moment, I didn't know what to say. My mind felt blank. But then I remembered Daniel's advice. I took a deep breath and said, "If a customer is upset, I would listen carefully. I would try to understand the problem and help find a solution. I think it is important to stay calm and be polite." The manager nodded again. "That's a good way to handle it. In this job, you will meet all kinds of people. Staying calm is important." He asked me a few more questions about my schedule and my skills. I answered as best as I could. Finally, the interview was over. The manager stood up and shook my hand. "Thank you for coming, Alan. We will call you in a few days with our decision." I left the cafe with mixed feelings. I felt relieved that the interview was finished, but I still felt nervous. I didn't know if I'd done well enough to get the job. On the way home, I kept thinking about the questions and my answers. Maybe I made mistakes. Maybe someone else will get the job. That evening, I saw Daniel again. He asked, "How did it go?" I said, "I think it went okay. I made some mistakes, and I felt nervous, but I tried my best." Daniel smiled and put his hand on my shoulder. "That's what matters, Alan. You went to the interview, you tried, and you didn't give up. That's something to be proud of." The next few days felt very long. Every time my phone rang, my heart jumped. I hoped it would be the cafe. Then, 3 days later, I got a call from a number I didn't know. My hands were shaking as I answered. "Hello?" I said. "Hello, is this Alan?" said a voice. "This is the manager from the cafe. I wanted to let you know that we've decided to offer you the job. You did well in the interview, and we think you'll be a great part of our team." I couldn't believe it. I smiled so much my face hurt. Thank you so much," I said. We talked about when I would start. After the call, I felt so happy. I couldn't wait to tell Daniel. I called him right away. "I got the job," I shouted. "That's amazing," he said. "I knew you could do it." I felt proud. The interview was hard, and I made mistakes, but I didn't give up. I tried my best, and that was enough. Now I have a job in London. I'm ready to work hard, meet new people, and keep improving my English. I've learned something important. Life isn't about being perfect. It's about trying, learning, and staying positive. Mistakes are not the end. They are part of the journey. If you are learning a new language or starting a new life in a different place, don't be afraid. Believe in yourself. Ask for help when you need it. Practice, try, make mistakes, and always keep going. Because every small step forward is a big step toward your dream.